What's Star Citizen? Star Citizen. Let me see if I can go to their shop page and show you how much they're selling ships for. Pledge store. Okay, so Star Citizen, for those of you who don't know, is a Kickstarter project started by the guy who made the Wing Commander series and some other stuff. And Freelancer. I forget his name. It's now the most expensive video game in the history of the world. And what I mean by that is it has raised over $300 million for its production. For scope, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 only cost $100 million to make or something like that. It has not come out. It's been in development since like 2012, and it's never going to come out. And on top of this, the people who are like in on this game, the people who like are super devoted to this game, it's almost like a cult. And in order to raise money for the development of the game, even though this is now the most expensive video game ever not made, in order to continue to raise funds, because clearly they've been going through the funds like crazy. And the reason this is going badly, too, is because it's being micromanaged by the guy who is the head of the development. For example, there was a guy who was a designer. He was like a character designer, and it was his job to make NPCs for the world. He said I think it was either 12 or 18 months, he was only able to get through 5 models, because every day the guy would come into his office and have him change things constantly. In a year of work at minimum, and it may have been 18 months, I don't remember, that in the time he worked there, he was only able to create 5 NPCs, and that was his whole job. Destiny is more expensive, 500 million, that's definitely untrue. Hold on. Most expensive game ever made. Most expensive games to develop. 135, 100. Why is this not? Is this an alphabetical order? Hold on. 15 most expensive games ever made. 1. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto had a budget of $265 million. So that's the most expensive game ever made. It's also the most profitable media project ever, though. Star Citizen funding to date. What are they at currently? Is there a current? It's over 300 million. Do they not have a thing on their website that says current Star Citizen funding? I thought the last time I checked it was up to like 360 million or something. Oh, it's loading. $315 million. This is more expensive to produce than Grand Theft Auto 5, which I remind you was a game that actually released. Destiny did not cost $500 million. I don't know where you're getting that number from. Anyway, so part of the thing that I find most offensive about Star Citizen is this. Star Citizen is selling ships. Now you might think, oh, like microtransactions, right? They're gonna sell me a ship for $5. No. These ships cost, let's see. This one's $100 if you want to fly this ship in the game, which isn't a game yet. This one's $65. This one's $45. Hold on. You gotta see this. You ain't seen nothing yet. 65. Let's go from price low to high. Okay. So the low-end ships that they have right now for sale, many of which don't actually exist, right? They're just JPEGs. They haven't even made these things yet. So on the low end, we have, I just want ships. Just ships. Okay. $45 for this basic ship. This one's $60. $65, $65, $65, $75, $90, $115, $125, $125, $275. This ship, which is in a game that is not released, and this ship might not even be in the demo for the game yet, cost 1,100 real-life dollars. This is not the most expensive ship they've ever had for sale. Because these are all limited time. So you have to buy them now, otherwise you can't buy them later, okay? I think the most expensive ship they ever sold was $3,000. And people buy this. Buy this. Buy implies they've actually gotten some good. They have not.
There's nothing funny about the
That's pretty expensive for a game that'll never come out. You'd probably get more out of just lighting $100 on fire. At least you'll be able to enjoy the warmth of the flames for a few seconds. It's ridiculous. This game is... Squadron 42 might come out. That's the single-player version of the game. That's just like, you know... It's like Wing Commander. It's like a single-player game where you fly through space in your ships and you do stuff. But the actual Star Citizen game, which is supposed to be this like almost MMO where you have this galaxy with hundreds of star systems. By the way, they've only not completed. They only have one star system available right now, and it's only 75% done or something like that. And again, this game has been in development since 2012, and they're claiming that the game is going to have hundreds of star systems. This game's never coming out. Never, ever. And if it does come out, it's going to be nothing like they have promised, and everyone who spent money on these ships is going to be livid, or they're going to have so much sunk cost that they're just going to be like, no, it's fine, even though it's nothing like they said it was going to be. DM Trey, some D&D stuff for later? Okay, cool. Sweet. Save that for a cleanse later. Star Citizen is even if it's not, I don't think a scam requires malice, right? Like, I don't necessarily think they went into making Star Citizen thinking, we're gonna scam a bunch of people. I think it's an accidental scam in the sense that... ooh, look, a $3 ship. That's nice. Or wait, is that just a paint job? It's just a paint job. $3 for a paint job for your imaginary starship. Tucker White 94. When a movie studio does something like this, the film usually gets repossessed and auctioned off. Why doesn't this happen in video games? Well, they have this was crowdfunded. There's no studio to, like, get them in line and say, okay, this project isn't working. So as long as crazy people keep buying these $1,000 ships, and there's enough rich people out there who do this kind of thing, or people with poor impulse control, that the thing has gotten its funding, and at some point, I have a feeling one of two things is going to happen. They're going to push something out the door that's very incomplete. It might be very polished, because that's the thing. The guy who makes these games has a crazy attention to detail. I'm sure it'll be a nice looking game, but I think it's going to be pretty threadbare in terms of features, especially considering what they've said is going to be in the game. But that'll happen and people will be disappointed, except for the diehard cultists who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and their brain isn't going to let them realize it was, like, being overpromised the whole time. Or at some point they'll just run out of funding, and even the whales who give them thousands of dollars of ships will stop at some point, and they'll cancel development and basically have to write a letter and say, like, sorry everyone, we tried, we couldn't do it. And at that point everyone's just SOL. Everyone who spent thousands of dollars on these ships is just screwed. So this is basically the video game version of Food Fight. Similarly, yeah. It's the Bitcoin of video games. Yeah, there are a lot of comparisons you could draw. I've also heard it's the Fire Fest of video games. So it's ridiculous. Oh, there's also a whole thing about, like, the PR director for the company was secretly the wife of the guy who's in charge of all of this, and she wasn't qualified to be put in that position. And it seems from the way that she's gone about it, it's basically just a position that she's been given, but she doesn't really do. It's really messed up. There are whole videos on this on YouTube. I'm not gonna like retread stuff that people have already done, but it's just crazy. It's legit nuts how people still put money into this and think that this is reasonable. Because it's not. It's not at all. Like, if you want a space sim, there are competitors now, right? Like, I get if you don't like No Man's Sky because it's cartoony and it's got a pretty repetitive gameplay loop. I understand that. But, like, Elite Dangerous exists if you want, like, a more realistic-looking space sim with more depth. Star Citizen just isn't a real game. And they'll be like, oh, it's a real game, I can play it. There's, like, a demo, basically, where you can go around in the hangar, and you can get in your ship, and you can fly off and go to certain places within the one solar system that isn't completed. And there are some missions and stuff, but it's nowhere close to a completed game. And the fact that, like, people are still pumping money into this scam is so depressing. It's absolutely depressing. Anyway, I don't think I have a lot else to say about Star Citizen. I just find it incredibly, incredibly interesting. I think Down the Rabbit Hole has a video about Star Citizen, although it's out of date at this point. But there are other people who have done some pretty good Star Citizen videos. There's a guy who does a series called Sunk Cost Galaxy, which is a perfect name. It's a perfect name for his series. I respect that naming. He was actually an investor in Star Citizen, and I don't mean like someone who's bought a bunch of money on ships. I mean literally, he was brought in from the development team and was like, we want you to invest in the company in return for like shares in the company. And he says over $10,000 in the company, but over time he just realized what a absolute money pit scam this was, and he got out, and now he makes a YouTube series all about what a scam it is. It's pretty interesting. So if you want more information on that, definitely check out Sunk Cost Galaxy. Down the Rabbit Hole is great. I wish Down the Rabbit Hole put out more content, but I understand that it probably takes a lot of time to do the research and write what they do. So anyway, that's Star Citizen.